Shakey's was a popular chain of pizza parlors famous for serving, well, an assortment of foods including fried chicken, seasoned potato wedges called Mojo potatoes, and of course, 21 varieties of the world's greatest pizza, as they put it. But all of that food was only part of the experience. Maybe more than anything else, Shakey's was known as a destination for family fun, perfectly reflected in their slogan, "We serve fun at Shakey's, also pizza." Shakey's! Truly, a lot of great memories have been created in these restaurants, so understandably, a lot of people have requested that I make this video explaining what happened to them. See, Shakey's was at its peak around 50 years ago in the middle of the 1970s, when they were operating close to 500 locations. They were found mostly on the West Coast where they originated, but they had expanded through most of the country and were building a respectable presence in the Midwest. Do you know that scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where he tricks the guy at the fancy French restaurant into thinking that he is Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago? Well, I think it is funny that the name that they gave to that fictional restaurant is Shakey's, a subtle joke making it sound just like Shakey's. And I have to say, if that joke were made today, very few people would understand it, because Shakey's has been reduced to about 10% of their former size. Over the past 50 years, the restaurants have shut down in Chicago and every other market around the country that is outside of California, with the only exception being one location in Washington. I mean, that is a major downfall for such a beloved pizza chain that I would like to try to explain. So in this video, I want to talk about the history of Shakey's while highlighting what I believe to be 3 of the main reasons behind its decline. Starting out with a big one, competition from so many different areas. When it's all said and done, potentially the biggest thing Shakey's will be remembered for is its pioneering franchising system. You might be surprised to learn that Shakey's predates every other pizza chain that we still have today. The first one was opened in 1954 in Sacramento by Sherwood Johnson and Ed Plummer. Oddly enough, Sherwood Johnson contracted malaria while serving in the Navy during World War II. It led to nerve damage, and that is why people started calling him Shakey. I guess he embraced the nickname so much that he used it for the name of the restaurant. That was made from a building that used to be a grocery store, by the way. After 2 years, they opened a second location in Portland, Oregon, and the following year, they started franchising, which quickly led to Shakey's pizza parlors opening up all along the West Coast. They were the first pizza restaurant to do that in such a big way, and as a result, Shakey spent many years as the largest pizza restaurant in the country. In the 1960s, most of the ones that we know today were just starting out and trailing far behind Shakey's, who was considered by many as the example to follow. By the 1970s, competition was really heating up, and by the 1980s, there was practically a war happening, where Shakey's was already declining significantly and getting lost in the shuffle. This article from 1988 in the Chicago Tribune almost puts it poetically when it says, "It has risen to the top and plunged toward the depths of the pizza industry." You can see there it also says that they were climbing back up, but that is highly debatable. Instead of going through the entire industry, let me just talk about Pizza Hut for a minute. It was started in 1958, 4 years after Shakey's started. It started franchising in 1959, 2 years after Shakey's started franchising, and in 1971, they surpassed Shakey's to become the new largest pizza chain in the country. In 1977, Pizza Hut was acquired by Pepsi, and they used their resources to start expanding it faster than ever. By the time that article was published in 1988, they had surpassed 5,000 locations in the US, 10 times bigger than Shakey's ever was, while Shakey's was down to around 250. That is the most extreme example, but it was a similar idea with Domino's and Little Caesars, so competition became way more intense. But why did Shakey's have such a hard time keeping up with it? Is the question that I intend to answer as I go back to my list with the next reason behind their decline: neglectful owners. So making a new list here, in 1954, the original owners opened that Sacramento location and set up a pioneering system that made it possible to open around 250 more Shakey's throughout the western part of the country. In 1967, in Sherwood Johnson, Shakey himself sold his portion of it to Colorado Milling and Elevator Company for $3 million. I'm not exactly sure why, but the following year, Ed Plummer was able to sell his portion of Shakey's to them for considerably more money. As the name suggests, the new owner was primarily a milling company that merged with a sugar refining company around that same time, so it all feels kind of random. I guess working with flour would be the biggest connection between the two. During this time, Shakey's continued growing, even opened restaurants internationally for the first time ever, starting with Canada and later followed by Japan and other parts of Asia, but it was at a comparatively slower pace that allowed the competition to gain some ground or even surpass them when it came to Pizza Hut. I'm going to make an obvious argument here that a milling and refining company may not have been the most knowledgeable when it came to running a food service business, and that problem was only exaggerated with the next owner, Hunt International Resources. They were primarily in the oil business and seemingly much more concerned with that over selling pizza. Some speculation here, but it looks like they only bought Shakey's because they viewed it as easy money. Pizza itself was still becoming popular throughout the country, and Shakey's was still one of the biggest names associated with it, so maybe they felt like it would be a low-effort, high-margin business. So you can see where this is going. As competition became more intense, they did not do much to respond to it, and they fell behind. Franchisees were criticizing them for being so laid back, and in 1984, when Shakey's had started losing money, they sold the U.S. rights to two of their franchisees named Gary Brown and Jay Halverson. Two people that I believe understood the business much better and cared about it more, but things had already gotten so bad. Consider that multiple rivals had surpassed them. I don't even think they were in the top 5 anymore. There was not enough demand for the locations that remained open, and it was a $17 million leveraged buyout, adding more debt to a company that was already struggling. Over the next few years, those new owners closed a lot of the underperforming restaurants that did raise their sales per restaurant and made them overall profitable, which honestly was probably the best thing to do, but it brought them down to an even smaller scale. The next change in ownership occurred in 1989 when Indo-Pacific, based in Singapore, bought the international and then the US rights to Shakey's. Shakey's had been growing a respectable presence in Asia, specifically the Philippines, where they have their biggest presence today, so the belief here is that under their ownership, the Asian restaurants were being favored over the ones in the US that continued to lose customers and go out of business. By the early 2000s, a couple of the US franchisees even filed lawsuits against Indo-Pacific, accusing them of neglect, among other things. So finally, in 2004, when the US locations had fallen to 63, they were acquired by the biggest franchisee in the country, Jackmar, for $4.5 million. As in many cases like this, they have expressed plans to revitalize things and make a comeback, and have invested a lot of money into remodeling and updating the restaurants, but here we are, over 20 years later, and there's not been much progress. Their most recent plan is to rebrand with a retro 1980s appearance. The kids who have fond memories of Shakey's from back then now have their own kids that can potentially form their own memories at Shakey's. So you can understand why I don't see a lot of potential in that plan, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Looking back at this list of owners, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but it is not exactly an all-star lineup. Either their focus was somewhere else, or they didn't have the resources or ability to do much with it. I fully believe that if back in the 1970s, Pepsi had somehow acquired Shakey's instead of Pizza Hut, there would be a lot more Shakey's around today. Going back to the original list, another reason behind their decline is entertainment. It is a category of restaurant where there are activities or some kind of show to go along with the food, and Shakey's was among the first to do it. Going back to their first night of operation, there was no food. I guess they did not have the ovens working yet, so everybody who came there simply drank beer while listening to live jazz music that was played by Shakey himself. Yeah, in those early days, he would play the piano and the banjo while people ate, and as they grew, the new locations would hire people to do the same. It gave them that reputation of having a fun environment for the whole family. Remember the slogan, "We serve fun at Shakey's," also pizza, which was a great strategy up until the 1980s. Well, early in that decade, as video games became more popular, they were adding arcade sections, and that made them more directly competitive with Showbiz Pizza and Chuck E. Cheese's, who ended up joining forces in the middle of the decade, which complicated things. But I think the biggest impact came in the second half of the decade with pizza delivery. I know it might not sound sound too important, but it was like the main battle in the pizza wars, and probably the single biggest reason Domino's became significant. In 1986, right when delivery was the focus of most Domino's and Pizza Hut commercials, Shakey's stopped delivering pizzas altogether. The head of the company said, "We view delivery as a distraction. We do a tremendous takeout volume, but we're a destination pizza restaurant. We couldn't be all things to all people. Our unique niche is our buffet. That sets us apart from the competition." I know that might seem like a crazy decision, but honestly, I imagine I would have said the exact same thing at the time. Shakey's was never about pizza. It was about the experience of going there. Buffets were becoming popular in a lot of restaurants at the time, so I can see why they saw that as a good way to add to that experience. The issue with all of it is that buffets started fading in popularity, and pizza became heavily associated with delivery. Today, even most Pizza Huts have transformed into small delivery or takeout locations. Just think back to the last time you ate pizza, and I will bet it was not at a restaurant. To summarize here, I think Shakey's was just meant to be one of those classic older restaurants. In many ways, it was revolutionary and definitely deserves respect for its place in history. But once it fell behind, it became almost impossible to catch up. Shakey's has been a slowly sinking ship for the past 50 years now that I can't imagine will ever become nearly as significant as it used to be, or maybe you disagree, so let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts about Shakey's? Do you have any memories of your family eating there as a kid? How would you describe the experience, and when was the last time you have been there? Do you agree with my reasons behind their decline, or do you think something should be added or subtracted from the list? And finally, what do you see for the future? And any other thoughts you have about Shakey's Pizza, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.